From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Monday, May 16th. It's going to be by far the best weather day of the week. Just gorgeous outside. A beautiful morning. Started out in the mid to low 50s in the Indianapolis area, and we're going to have a terrific afternoon. Lots of sunshine, low humidity values, lower wind gusts. Highs are going to top out in the mid to upper 70s. Some places south of Indy look to hit the 80s. Today, the president and first lady are set to visit Buffalo, New York. They plan to stop first at a makeshift memorial outside the supermarket where a shooter killed 10 people Saturday in what investigators describe as a racist massacre. The Bidens will also meet privately with families of the victims and emergency workers who were at the scene. The White House says the president will call for stricter gun laws and urge Americans to reject racism and embrace the nation's diversity. Prosecutors are working to bring federal charges against the 18-year-old suspect. Newly released video shows the suspect as police took him into custody after the Saturday shooting. Pictures also show writing on his weapons, including the phrase, "White Lives Matter." Investigators think the suspect had been to the area at least twice before the shooting. Police say they met with the suspect last year after he turned in a high school project about murder-suicides. He's now under suicide watch in the jail. An IU professor is breaking down to iTeammate a theory investigators think may have motivated the suspect. It's called the Great Replacement Theory. Lasana Kazimbi teaches African studies. He says the theory has been around since the 1900s. It centers over fears that non-white people are being brought in to replace white people for political gain. According to the National Immigration Forum, believers often use rhetoric of migrant invasion, voter replacement, and anti-Semitism language. The forum has a list of steps to take to combat the rise of the Great Replacement Theory. We put a link to that document online. You can go to wishtv.com and find this story in the As Seen on Wish TV section. In California, police say the killer in Sunday's deadly church shooting was fueled by political hatred against Taiwan. Police say the suspect is a 68-year-old American citizen who grew up in Taiwan. Investigators say he went to a lunch of mostly elderly church members, spent an hour mingling with people, then chained the door shut, planted fire bombs, and started shooting. Police say he killed one person and wounded 5 others. Authorities say the victim who died was a hero, tackling the shooter, giving others time to subdue him and tie him up. And the shootings in Buffalo and California are prompting new calls to rewrite Indiana's hate crime law. State lawmakers passed it in 2019, but the final version drew objections from some of the people who fought hardest for it. Democrat Greg Porter pushed for a hate crime law for many years, then voted against it. It allows for stronger penalties if bias is a motivating factor, but does not specify penalties. The president of Indiana's NAACP contends it's too broad.
Jasper County might say, okay, for this same similar type of crime, we're going to give the defendant, 2 more years. Maybe down in Bartholomew County, they're going to say, well, we're going to give them 6 months. And somebody else will say, we're not going to do any type of enhancement. So the law is crazy.
Porter says he plans to try to improve Indiana's version through a new bill or amendments to the current one. And new in the war in Ukraine, efforts are underway to pull the last remaining Ukrainian fighters out of a steel plant that's been as the last remaining holdout in Mariupol. Ukrainian officials are not calling it a surrender, but say the soldiers have completed their mission. The country's deputy defense minister says the military evacuated more than 260 fighters yesterday, including more than 50 who are badly wounded. The soldiers are now in Russian-controlled areas. Ukrainian leaders say they're working on exchanges to bring them home. Gas prices are soaring to new records. All along the West Coast, states are breaking the $5 mark, and experts say that could soon be a reality nationwide. According to Gas Buddy, the nationwide average right now is $4.51 a gallon. That's a 44-cent jump to the $4.07 we saw last month and $1.48 more a gallon than this time last year. Closer to home, Indiana is beating the national average at $4.54 a gallon. That's a 13-cent jump over yesterday and $1.58 more than at this point last year. Experts with AAA blame in part a lack of refineries to keep up with the demand. And brace for a price jump at the post office. Regulators are reviewing a request from the Postal Service, and experts believe they'll give it the okay. Forever stamps would go up to 2 pennies to 60 cents. Metered letters, postcards, and international letters would be more expensive to send too. The Postal Service cites inflation and increased operating costs. The increases would start July 10th if they get that okay. The maker of several popular candies is pulling them from the shelves. Mars is recalling certain Skittles, Starburst, and Life Savers gummy lots over a possible contamination of thin metal strands in the candies. Officials say no problems have been reported, but if you want to see if you have one of the affected products in your pantry, we've made it easy. Just grab your phone or laptop, go to wishtv.com. We have a full list under the As Seen on Wish TV section. A roadside shooting involving police leaves 2 people dead, including one described as a Good Samaritan. It happened last night in Harrison County in southern Indiana. State police are sharing few details so far. What we do know is that troopers say a Palmyra police officer went to a call of an SUV that was stopped on State Road 135. Troopers say as the officer got there, 2 other people also stopped to help, and that somehow within seconds, shots were fired, killing the driver of the SUV and one of the Good Samaritans. Investigators are not yet saying who fired or why. Police say the officer went to the hospital with minor injuries. Local authorities have asked state police to investigate. To Elkhart County, where the Department of Natural Resources says a 16-year-old boy died after falling into a pond from a rope swing. The pond is in Syracuse. The DNR says witnesses told officers the boy went into the pond Sunday afternoon but never came back up. A rescue team found his body in 5 feet of water. Several Marsh supermarkets still sit empty this morning, 5 years since the company closed all locations for good. Now a commercial real estate agent who's listed several of the properties is breaking down what happened. IT-Mate found at least 6 former Marsh properties sitting empty across central Indiana. Some of the storefronts look like they closed just last week, while others have been torn down. Of the remaining locations, about a dozen are for sale. And the city of Indianapolis says it has no plans to offer financial incentives to prospective buyers. Sun Capital bought the Midwest supermarket chain from former CEO Don Marsh in 2006. Then in 2017, Sun Capital announced Marsh would file for bankruptcy and close all 44 of its stores despite a series of cuts and changes designed to restore the chain's dominance. Some of the more profitable locations got new owners, including Kroger and Needler's, 2 main locations downtown. Keith Stark of Consortium Commercial Real Estate has listed a few Marsh properties. He says landlords got stuck with what the bankruptcy court decided. Here, he explains the difficulty of finding new tenants and the economic toll it takes to fill those spaces.
It's like, well, the cost to do that, first of all, I'm underwater with just the taxes and mowing the lawn and things of that nature. I'm in a negative cash flow situation, and you want me to do what? Open up the building and turn on some of the utility bills for a building like that can be thousands of dollars a week.
An expert from the IU Kelley School of Business told IT-Mate that it's not likely another local grocery store that will emerge in those places. The baby formula plant at the heart of a nationwide recall could reopen within 2 weeks. That's if a court approves an agreement with the FDA. Federal regulators say they reached the deal with Abbott Nutrition to resume production at the company's plant in Sturgis, Michigan. It's been closed since February because of contamination issues. The changes will not immediately solve the crisis, though. Abbott says once it restarts the site, it'll take about 8 to 10 weeks for new products to arrive in stores. The Biden administration says getting imports into the U.S. will take several weeks. The FDA could authorize Pfizer boosters for children 5 to 11 as soon as today. That's according to an official familiar with the plan. Pfizer requested emergency use authorization for its boosters last month. It claims its data shows a third dose raised Omicron-fighting antibodies by 36 times in children 5 to 11 years old. An advisory committee for the CDC is expected to discuss COVID-19 boosters when they meet Thursday. And today, Congress will hold its first public UFO hearing in decades. Congressman Andre Carson will oversee it. He's called for transparency on the issue for years. Carson is the chairman of the subcommittee holding today's hearing. He told Bloomberg that everyday citizens have raised questions for decades and want government footage explained to them. Carson said in a tweet last week, Congress hasn't held a public hearing on unidentified aerial phenomena in over 50 years. That will change next week when I lead a hearing with the House Intelligence Agency on this topic and the national security risk it poses. Americans need to know more about these unexplained occurrences. Now, today, 2 top defense intelligence officials will answer questions from the House Intelligence Committee's subcommittee on counterterrorism, counterintelligence, and counterproliferation. The meeting will focus on a Pentagon program called the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group. The group was established last year after the U.S. intelligence community released a preliminary assessment on 144 reports of unidentified aerial phenomena since 2004. It's unclear how many reports will be explained to the public.
We are absolutely committed to being as transparent as we can with the American people.
Pentagon spokesman John Kirby says the Defense Department will try to make sure there's a better process for identifying these phenomena and analyzing that information in a more proactive, coordinated way that's been done in the past. He says the Pentagon will attempt to mitigate any safety issues that arise since many reports have been near training areas. The public hearing is set for 10 this morning. A classified closed briefing will follow. And back here at home today at the track, practice lap start for the Indianapolis 500. You can enter the Speedway right now. Gates open at 8 o'clock this morning. Veteran drivers get first crack of the track from 9 to 11:15. Rookie orientation runs from 1 to 3. Then open practice goes from 3 to 6. And a local artist has a new partnership with IMS thanks to a piece we featured on Daybreak on Wish TV. It garnered attention and hope amid the pandemic. News 8's Hannah Mordeau brought the story to you 2 years ago, and as she reports, this is a story that has come full circle.
Back home again in Indiana.
In song, sound, and sight, the Indianapolis 500 is painted with tradition. And since the pandemic,
And I go over it with acrylic.
with a stroke of luck,
I'm painting IMS.
a painting from Audwin Newman
Look how far we've come.
has become the latest race day tradition.
To have something good come out of something that's been so stressful for so many, I think is an amazing thing.
A picture of hope. Back in 2020, I first introduced you to Audwin and his version of the Marvel character, the Silver Surfer, as a masked Borg Warner trophy. Now,
Kind of emotional in a weird way. This one means so much, and it was kind of born out of a really difficult time. And this one means so much, but it's born out of a much more hopeful time.
mask removed, strength, and a sliver of a smile paired with,
Honor of putting the Indianapolis Motor Speedway logo on it.
you see, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway noticed the painting's impact on fans. So,
Largely because of your interview 2 years ago, I was able to secure a license working scenario with IMS. So Indianapolis Motor Speedway during the 500,
now he has several race-themed paintings
4-time champ, wing and wheel.
and started selling his work at the track.
I'll be selling all month. Every day the track is open, I'll be there.
He's crossed the bricks and won the hearts of race fans.
This 2-year arc will always be very, very special.
But what means the most is that this picture of tradition is just another way we're back home again in Indiana. We'll see you on race day.
Yes, absolutely.
Again, that was Hannah Mordeau reporting, and she reports 500 versions of the painting will only be available this year, but Audwin says he already has plans for next year's artwork, new Indy 500 tradition. Today, take the pup to see a baseball game at Victory Field. It's the first of 6 Bark in the Park games there. Fans and pets can watch the Indians take on the Toledo Mud Hens from the lawn. First pitch is at 6:35, and it's going to be a gorgeous day for that. This has been your News 8 Daily 8. For Wish TV, I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.